Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to talk about oxalate sensitivity and what that feels like. So there may be some overlapping symptoms because this affects a part of the body that is already affected by another one of my symptoms. So I'll try to sort of distinguish the two symptoms and kind of be more specific as to what this feels like compared to my other issue. So I want to just start off by kind of letting you guys know what an oxalate is. From my understanding of it, and I was looking it up here on on the internet, and it's like it's a compound from the something family, and basically what it is, it's like a crystal type compound that occurs in a lot of plants and plant foods. So we're looking at leafy greens, veggies, beans, lentils, legumes, nuts, things like that. They all contain oxalates in varying quantities. Some contain very low oxalates, some contain very high oxalates, but from my understanding, all plant foods contain oxalates. This is also like a cause of some kidney stones because the crystals, I guess, like they settle in your kidneys and then you have to pass them. But in other cases, it causes other issues, as you will see. So the onset of my symptoms, I was actually working full time. This was my first full-time job. I was very excited. I was working in an office at a nonprofit. And so I was sitting a lot. It was like a regular 9 to 5 kind of job. And I remember at the time, I never really ate. I don't want to say I ate very healthy, but I think at that point, I was sort of trying to keep my diet a little bit on the healthier side. So my snacks consist of like almonds or trail mix. I guess to me that was like healthy or something. And I suddenly started to notice, like when I would go to the bathroom, and again, before I before I continue, this is not suitable for work, and we are going to be talking about private areas. So if that's something that you're uncomfortable with, you might want to stop watching this. But anyways, I would go to the bathroom, and when I would wipe, it like hurt. It felt almost like I had like a paper cut, or I had some kind of like an ingrown hair. It was hurting whenever I would wipe. And I started checking the area. I would get home and I would start checking the area, and I didn't see anything. I didn't see any kind of cut. I didn't see any type of ingrown. But I could feel that irritation. It just, I was like, okay, well, whatever. It might just be something that it'll take time to go away. If it's an ingrown hair, it just will probably go away on its own. And so I just kind of was whatever. I would pack my same lunch, some nuts or something as a snack, and go to work the next day, and the same thing. And so over time, it became very, very sensitive to the point where even kind of like when you get up off your chair, you don't like get up, you kind of slide off of your chair. Even that was kind of bothering me. I was like, any kind of friction was really uncomfortable. And so that was in the front area. And then in the back area, I started noticing that it felt like I was passing glass. And that's the best way to describe it. I don't know what passing glass would actually feel like back there, if you would even feel it, but it did feel like I was passing something sharp. And I did see, kind of little bits of blood sometimes. And I don't know, my mind did not go straight to hemorrhoids, especially because I was having, the front area was being affected too. So it kind of all connected in my head. I was like, these two things are related because they're happening at the same time. So yeah, it just continued to evolve and get worse and worse and worse. And I wasn't sure what was happening. I wasn't sure what I was doing. Now, if you saw my pelvic, I had a video that I did on my pelvic floor stiffness, and the pain that caused. And it was in the same area, the pelvic area, vaginal, rectal area. That was very, pretty intense pain, and it hurt when I was sitting. The oxalate sensitivity, even though it bothered me when I would slide off of my chair, I feel like it was always there. Like I could always feel that discomfort. If I wiped, I could feel it. Passing stool, I could feel it. When I had my pelvic floor stiffness, passing stool did not hurt. Surprisingly, it did not hurt. It was difficult, but it didn't hurt. And so at first I thought I was dealing with the same thing, because pelvic floor problems can also cause a similar type of pain, like burning sensation. I guess maybe like an irritated type of feeling. But I was just like, this is something else. This is something new, which is really scary, because I had already had so many problems in that area that I just couldn't believe, like, again, this is what I'm going through again in this very sensitive, very private area. And it kept getting worse. So it kind of cumulatively kept getting worse. And I was like, this is very painful. It's becoming pretty painful. I need to figure it out. So I started Googling, and I was Googling like paper cut feeling, paper cut sensation, pain when passing, stool, a little bit of blood, I just kept Googling it. And obviously pelvic pain came up. That was always the first thing that came up, because technically it is pelvic pain. It's in the pelvis, and it's pelvic pain. But I had done all the PT that I could do. I had done years of physical therapy for my pelvic floor. Watch the other video. I talk about pelvic floor therapy. I had done years of therapy in that area. I knew my muscles were not in as bad of shape as they had been at that time. And from the pelvic floor issue to the oxalate issue, I would say the pelvic floor issue started my senior year in college. So I was around 2021. And this issue, I was already living with my boyfriend. I don't know if he was my husband. I think we were already married, or we weren't married yet, but we were close to that. So I was probably 26. So it had been a good 5 years, at least a solid 5 years. And I was like, there's no way that my pelvic pain could have just come back like that, even though I had been going to physical therapy and I had kept up with my, with just keeping the muscles in decent shape. And I hadn't done anything. I hadn't done any kind of like strenuous exercise that I could think of. I mean, it's such a, specific area. I was like, what could I have done to those muscles again? And this was less of a muscle. I mean, I still had the muscle stiffness there. It wasn't as bad as it was before, but this was more of a tissue problem, not a muscle problem. Like it was the tissues in that area that were being affected. So it wasn't like a muscular problem, but my muscles were not in the best shape anyways. But there was some kind of a difference in the sensation. So I continued to Google. I continued to just really, because I still had to sit at work and I still had to eat, and I still, I hadn't made the connection that it was something that I was eating that was contributing to this problem. And somehow I found oxalates and low oxalate diet as I was Googling. And there are some women who have pelvic pain. And again, this is something where, pelvic pain, much like a lot of other issues, can have different sources. You can have pelvic pain from a muscle problem. You could have pelvic pain from, an autoimmune condition, from interstitial cystitis, a condition that's in an organ, or it could be from your diet, or it can be, a neurological issue or an injury. There are many different sources. Even sexual assault is a source of pelvic pain. It can cause lifelong pelvic pain. So there's all these different sources, and I already eliminated one. It could not be a muscle issue. So I came across this pelvic pain diet, and it was a low oxalate diet. And I was like, okay, well, I have no other choice but to do this diet, because I've already done all the other stuff. I've done the physical therapy. I've had, I had a bladder ultrasound. There's nothing there. I don't have interstitial cystitis. I don't have, I think I had like a small ovarian cyst, but that was not, could not cause that kind of pain. So I said, okay, we're just going to do a low oxalate diet and, we'll figure it out. And at the time, I remembered that I was eating like almonds every single day at work. I was having like a bag of almonds every single day. And almonds and nuts are some of the highest oxalate foods you will ever find. Extremely high oxalate. So right away I was like, I put two and two together. So I gave up the nuts right away and started seeing an improvement. But it still took a while to get much better, because I think the tissues were, the way that I imagine it is that you're passing these bits of crystal, and they are damaging the tissue. So it takes a while for the tissue to heal. And because the source of my condition is inflammatory based, and again, at that time, I did not know that. I still did not know that I had an underlying condition causing a lot of inflammation. I just assumed that my body was just horrible. But you have to rebuild those tissues by supplementation. And so I started seeing that on this website. I think it's called like lowoxalatediet.com. You could just Google low oxalate diet and it'll tell you, to eliminate oxalates or to bring them as low as possible. And then it tells you a few supplements you can take. So I started with the diet first, eliminating the highest oxalate things. And then I started incorporating, I think you take like calcium something, or some kind of calcium supplement. And the calcium binds to the oxalates and flushes them out. So as you take the calcium, the oxalates stick to the calcium and then you like poop it out. So that also helps to eliminate it. Even if you're still eating some oxalates or some higher oxalate stuff, it kind of helps for it not to hurt your body because it's binding to the calcium. So I started taking that. And then I believe there was something else. I think it was like L-glutamine, or it was something, it's like something that's derived from shellfish. It's some kind of like an amino acid type of thing. And then eventually, as the years would go on and I would eventually get to my my Lyme literate doctor, then I would start taking MSM and L-glutamine, and that seemed to kind of heal the tissues even more and strengthen them more. And so I was able, for a while, I was able to tolerate a little bit higher oxalate stuff. But as my condition has worsened and as my inflammation has continued to go up, I have unfortunately had to continue to eliminate foods. And yeah, I do cheat. I will eat dark chocolate from time to time, which is very high oxalate. I did kind of go on a tear of, having nuts again. I would have like just a few nuts a day, and eventually that caused another issue, which I will get to in another video. And, it sucked because I had to eliminate, and, this was kind of like the beginning of major food elimination, because oxalates are in everything, and especially in healthy foods. That's the sad part, is that oxalates are found usually in the healthiest stuff you can find. Spinach is very high oxalate, beans are very high oxalate, lentils. So I had to eliminate all that stuff, and it was worth it to me because I was in pain and I didn't want to be in pain, and I already had issues with my pelvic floor. And so I had to bite the bullet and do it. This particular symptom has not resolved completely. It actually, I want to say, has, it's kind of stabilized, I guess, recently, but I still can't have high oxalate things. I can't have trail mix. I can't sit and have like, a handful of nuts. And even in my foods, I've eliminated a lot of vegetables just for many different reasons. And so, it's very sad, and it hurts because I would like to eat those things because they're healthy. and they have nutrients, but I had to stop. And also too, I didn't want to be bleeding, because I feel like that would just end up, causing another major issue somewhere down the line. So yeah, that's where I'm at. I'm still there. I'm hoping that, the IVIG continues to help me. I do feel like it has helped in many ways. But I'm still looking for other treatments and other things to reduce the inflammation, because at the core of these problems is inflammation, especially when it comes to something like oxalates. And I think leaky gut is, part of the issue. But again, leaky gut is inflammation. Inflammation is what contributes to leaky gut. So yeah, that's what I've got for you guys today. Please stay tuned. There will be more symptom videos coming. Like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Take care.